video is going to be on my long-wearing foundation routine. So I take you through A to Z, foundation, concealer, primer, all of the above, and everything in between. So keep in mind, I do have oily skin, I do have acne-prone skin, I have lots of hyperpigmentation, scarring, and all of that. So all of those needs need to be addressed in my foundation routine, so it's catered more towards my skin type. But definitely still try it out if you do have other skin types. It's good to give everything at least one shot, right? So this is the foundation routine I use during my anniversary, during any event that I have to go to that I need long-wearing, budge-proof, foolproof makeup. This makeup is even waterproof, and it's probably bulletproof, I'm just saying. All of the products used in this video will be listed in the description box below, as well as whatever else is on my face. It'll all be listed in the description box below. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like and comment on this video, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you won't miss any of my uploads. So if you want to see how to get foolproof, bulletproof, smudge-proof, waterproof, long-wearing foundation, concealer, and all of that, then just keep on watching. Okay, so the first thing that will make your foundation look the best and make it the most long-wearing is skin prep. So foundation and concealer heavily rely on what you do before you actually put on those products. So skin prep is the most important part of this routine. So I always make sure that I'm exfoliated, whether chemically or physically. I personally like to do chemical exfoliation, but that's up to you. Just make sure there's no dry, dead skin on your face. And then after that, make sure to really moisturize well. Nothing too thin. I really want to stress this point because the foundation routine that I'm showing is a little bit more drying. And don't let that scare you when I say drying. I just mean like soft, matte, satin type of finish, so it's not very dewy, because I do have oily skin and that would end up terrible for me. Make sure to always wear sunscreen during the day if you're going out in the sun. At any point, make sure to wear sunscreen. It will really help your skin out tremendously. So everything you put on is skin food for your face to make it look plump, hydrated, healthy, luminous, any other adjective that makes it sound amazing. And that is really what we're going for. I'm not going for a completely flat, matte type of look. That just looks not so good on me, okay? I have tons of texture, I have tons of acne, hyperpigmentation, scarring, everything that you can probably think of, and a flat matte kind of emphasizes all of that, really dries out my skin so it starts to produce more oil, and then it just ends up badly for me. So I've come to love the satin to soft matte type of finish. I find that it wears the best, it looks the best, and it just kind of smooths over all of the imperfections that I have on my face. So this really, really does affect the makeup wear time and look. So I really cannot stress this enough that you need to moisturize well, make sure there's no dry, dead flakes, and just make sure that your skin is nicely taken care of. So this foundation routine is full coverage. It is extreme coverage. I can get about 10 to 12 hours of wear out of this. So my goal is to smooth all of that out so none of it is detectable on the skin. And I'm trying to not look cakey at all. I don't want it to look like I have foundation on, like tons and tons of product on my face. That's not the look I'm going for. So my goal right now is to use the least amount of product to get the most amount of coverage. So after skincare is obviously primer, because you really want to prep the skin so you don't have to use as much foundation later. You're much more satisfied with the end product as well. So this will also prolong the wear time of the foundation. It'll help perfect the skin a little bit before you put on products that are actually colored on top of it. So this really helps my skin texture mainly. I do have a lot of pores, so I am going to go in with the Catrice Cosmetics Prime and Fine Smoothing Refiner for invisible pores and lines. So you can see that it is a balmy type of product. You can use any pore filler that you like because I do have oily skin, I do have larger pores. That's just how life decided to give me my combination of imperfections. But I'm just going to take my beauty blender. Well, this isn't a beauty blender, this is just a sponge. And I'm going to take it on the back of my hand dab off the excess, and I'm just going to really press that into the pores. Okay, so I just press that primer right into my pores, and it instantly fills it in, instantly mattifies it. I don't know if you can notice, but it just makes everything a little bit more perfected as well. So I put this everywhere that I have larger pores. I also put this everywhere that I have smile lines. Not everywhere that I have smile lines. There's only one place I have smile lines, near my smile. Okay, I put this anywhere that I have fine lines as well, and just really just pounce that into the skin. And using a sponge really presses the product in more than your fingers can, and that's what you need for these kind of pore filling type of primers, or else they can just kind of sit on top of the skin and they can actually start to pill up into little balls, and then you're not getting any of the benefit of the primer. So on top of that, I like to use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. This is silicone free, alcohol free, and oil free, and this is just going to add a little bit of hydration to the skin, because everywhere I didn't put the refiner, I am a little bit more normal skinned, and things can start to look very dry and cakey because of the foundation that I'm using. So I just like to spritz this on my face. Makes my skin also a little bit tacky, so it grips onto the foundation better as well. So for foundation, this is my ultimate combination. This is the combination I wore on my anniversary, so I know that these work amazingly, and I've constantly been trying this combo out. So these two foundations I mixed together to get my perfect combination of foundation. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation, and this is the CYO Life Proof Long Lasting Foundation. Yeah, one is a $42 foundation and the other one is a $7 foundation, and they have the perfect symbiotic relationship that is just, oh, it's so good. It's so good on the face. This is a very matte finish. It is matte. She is a little dewy. She's a little more luminous looking. She's long wearing, full coverage. This is the most full coverage foundation I've used, aside from the Marc Jacobs Remarkable. This is pigment in a bottle. Like, if you need stuff to cover, this is your gal. I think this can probably cover a tattoo. I could believe it. I could really believe it if they made that claim. But it can start to look a little dry, a little heavy, a little cakey. So that is where CYO comes in and gives me that extra dew. This is actually quite long lasting on top of that, and it just makes the perfect combination of these two and gives me a very satin, much more skin-like finish. So the Urban Decay foundation has 40 shades, and the CYO foundation does have 15 shades, but since this is a mixture, it just equals out perfectly. Also, a major problem with the Urban Decay foundation is the oxidization. Holy crap, does this oxidize. This is the shade 3.0, and it's going to look a little light for me at first, and then it's going to dry down and oxidize, and it's going to be about 2 to 3 shades darker. Yeah, this is not so good if you want a foundation that doesn't oxidize. The CYO foundation, on the other hand, does not oxidize, so it actually helps combat the oxidization of this foundation on top of that. So this serves multiple purposes on top of just making me look amazing. This is also a little bit light for me, so it just kind of, balances everything out once this does oxidize to something that is a little bit darker than me. These two are the perfect pair. So shake the bottles first. So what I'm going to do, kind of show you here, is I'm going to take a whole pump of the CYO foundation on the back of my hand. And the CYO foundation has kind of an olive undertone, has a little bit of green to it, so it really matches me well. And then the Urban Decay foundation, I'm going to take about half a pump. You can actually really see the color difference here, how the CYO is much more green, which fits me better, but it is a little bit light for me. So what I just like to do is just give it a good mix on the back of the hand. I'm just going to be dotting this on the face, and I prefer to use a brush. Sometimes I'll use a sponge, but I just prefer the brush method better. It just makes product spread a long way, and most of the time I do like to smooth it out with a sponge. So I like to do kind of more stippling motions to get the most out of my foundation. If you start to buff and kind of do circular motions, you're moving the product everywhere, you're not getting it exactly where you want it. If you stipple and pat the product in, it'll really just press it into the skin for maximum coverage. Always start off with less than you think you need. Never put on too much. You can always add, but you can't take away. I also like to do kind of more downward flicks as well as stipples, just so I don't get any brush strokes on my face. And really blend on the jawline. This is the only area where I like to buff, because I almost like to buff it into the skin so it looks like there's absolutely nothing on the face. And the nose, you want to really get into those cracks too. Do remember to just press the product in, or else it's gonna look very strange when you just have a sliver of your skin showing and the foundation is kind of gathering there as well. So that is one solid layer of the foundation. I still have product on the back of my hand and I still want a little bit more coverage. For the second layer, I like to go in with strictly a sponge, just because I do not want things, see how much it oxidized? This is it freshly applied, and that is it dried down. So you can really tell the difference right there. But I apply it with a sponge just so things don't start looking heavy and cakey and just kind of too much all at once. And places where you don't need extra foundation, don't put it there, all right? If you don't need extra foundation on your nose, just don't put it. You don't need it. You don't need to do a full layer all over your face. You can just put it on the problem areas that you have. So this is where I like to just pounce it into the hairline as well. Just really get in there so nothing looks funky or weird. And the jawline, really make sure to get that. Okay, so you can see that my skin is kind of a soft matte. It still has a bit of a sheen to it. It's not completely flat and one-dimensional, which is definitely what I want. At the end, we're gonna go in with some setting spray just because it's winter time and my skin needs a little bit of extra oomph. And just to blend all of the products I'm gonna put on top later. So for concealer, this probably comes as no surprise to you guys, but I love the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. I talk about this constantly. But if I want to amp it up a little bit more, make it a little bit more long wearing, have it last a little longer, just make it a little bit more full coverage glam, I like to mix it with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. So I have the Shape Tape in Light Sand. It is a much brighter concealer for me rather than the Catrice, which is just a little bit lighter than my natural skin tone. So first what I like to do is just apply a little bit of the Catrice right there. And I like to highlight with the Catrice and not the Tarte because it can get a little heavy, a little cakey. Then what I like to do is right on top of that, I'll just put a smidgen of the Tarte Shape Tape. And I like to blend out the highlighted areas first. And now for the under eye, I just kind of blend them together with the sponge first, not so close to the under eye, and then I just like to bring it in up with my sponge. So this concealer combination sits very, very well underneath my eye. I have pretty dry under eyes, and this combination sits very well underneath the eye. I don't need to worry too much about creasing and caking and looking like a reptile, but everything does still crease in the lines I have. There's no concealer ever that will not, just because of the nature of those lines. However, I can still tell when something is creasing more or less, and these definitely are a power duo as well. Now for underneath the eye, I'm taking the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Press Powder. This is just the powder that sits the best on my under eye. So this is what I like to use. You wanna make sure there's no creases when you set it, or else you're gonna be setting the creases, and that is not what we want. So this powder is the best for my under eye personally. It makes it look the smoothest, the least crepey, and just the best, most plump that I can right now. I almost do kind of just press it into my pores right here while I'm already, you know, situated in over here. And for the rest of my face, definitely don't go in with like a foundation powder right now. Holy crap, you will look like cake face. But I'm going in with the Milani Prep Set and Glow powder. I talked about this in my top 10 under 10, I think. And I'm just taking a really fluffy Wet n Wild brush, and I'm just setting the face just so it's not tacky, but I'm not trying to add any coverage. If anything, this is going to add just the tiniest amount of sheen to the skin. And I'm making sure not to swipe at my skin because I'll just remove the foundation underneath. What I'm trying to do is just press the product in to the skin. Okay, so now I'm going to finish up the rest of my face, and I will be right back just so I can spritz some setting spray and you can see the final result. Okay, so now I have everything on my face right now, all my face products except my mascara and my eyeliner because I don't want them to run because of the setting spray. So I'm just going to be using the same Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water, and I'm just going to be spritzing my face to help melt all the products in. And setting spray is almost magical in making your foundation, your skin, just looking that much more skin-like and less foundation and makeup-like. So this is a very close look at my skin just so you can see what everything looks like. I really love how this foundation combination looks again, I said. And everything that I put on my face makes this wear for an extremely long time. It's such full coverage and it's everything that I am really looking for in a foundation routine. So you can even see how smooth my forehead looks. And that usually looks a little bit textured, even in between the brows right here, right on the cheek. Of course, it's not gonna hide actual texture. It's just going to mask it. So you're still gonna see all of the bumps, but they're going to be drastically reduced. It's kind of like an illusion. Okay, hi, hello. I just wanted to show you my skin in broad daylight. This is in complete sunlight. And I think it looks really, really good, the foundation and the concealer. So that wraps up my video, guys, on my long wearing foundation routine. I hope you picked up any tips and tricks to make your foundation last longer, wear better, and just look better in general. All the products used in this video and whatever is on my face will be linked in the description box below, so check it out if you want any of the product links. If you enjoyed this type of content, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like and comment on this video, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you won't miss any of my uploads. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.